Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise news analyst Emmanuel Efeni, Great Malabite.
Good morning, Ruben.
Morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir.
Let's say some kind words to Tundu at home. Get well fast.
I'm sure she's watching. Tundu, MQ Aviola.
Tundu, you know I miss you so much.
Efeni's favorite.
Please get well soon, Tundu. Really.
Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story, PDP governors vow to resist plot to foist one-party state. Wike, we risk our lives to keep Matawale, renews legal battle to unseat Uzodinma. Yes, the PDP is worried because of the raid, if you will, on its officials, governors, senators, finding their way to the APC. And with the statement by one APC official that 10 more governors will join before 2023, then I think the PDP should be worried. Perhaps at that meeting, if governors meet, the question they should be asking themselves, who next? So that everybody will say, no, I'm not going, no, I'm not going. But it's very serious that this is a new tactics by the ruling party, perhaps to ground the opposition. I thought policies and implemented should win more votes for the APC. But again, the acting chairman, who himself is a governor, Maibuni, has his own strategy, and it seems to be working because now we see that the PDP itself is jittery, that if something is not done from their own end, then perhaps we may just have a one-party state by 2023. But that is not politics. That is not the democracy we fought for. We should have sound opposition, just like the APC and of course the parties, the legacy parties that made up the APC, were strong opposition when the PDP was in government. But we'll see how that pans out. But this report also states that PDP has also perfected its legal papers to renew the legal battle to unseat Hope Uzodinma, the Imo State governor, who many of his citizens usually refer to as the Supreme Court governor. Now, the Punch newspaper, the other stories of the day. We killed 2, arrested 13 aides in Igboho's house raid, says DSS. Attackers killed 5 persons, took away corpses, steal 3 million naira, female leader shouting orders. 7 AK-47 rifles, 3 guns, 5,000 rounds of ammunition, charms recovered, services. Its attack on Yoruba Adebanjo. Its injustice, federal government insensitive, says Yoruba Council of Elders. Now, the Nation newspaper reporting this story, the attack on Igboho's residents, DSS declares Igboho wanted after mass recovery in home raid. Well, the mass recovery we can see on the front page of the Nation newspaper, what it has described as mass recovery. Some of the recovered weapons and, of course, cash, charms, and international passport, part of what the Nation newspaper calls mass arms recovery. Now, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, DSS raids Igboho's home, killed 2, arrest 13, declares him wanted. While the Daily Sun also reporting this story, Igboho opens up on attack, gives details of how 2 were killed. G-Wagon Prado furniture destroyed in deadly invasion, cancels Lagos rally. Afenifere, Nigerian back to Abacha era. Abducted family members dropped in Ekiti. Its ploy to silence him, Gani Adams Masob, while the News Direct newspaper Igbo's house raid. DSS declares DES OPC, Yoruba World Congress, declares Igboho wanted, arrests 13 supporters, recovers 7 AK-47, 3 pump action guns, voodoo charm jacket, others. OPC, YWC, others fume. While the Vanguard newspaper also reporting this story, outrage as Sunday Igboho's house is attacked, 2 killed. Below the photograph, no mercy for Nnamdi Kanu's collaborators, federal government vows. While the other stories now, the New Telegraph, of course, the PIB bill. 13 years after, Senate passes PIB bill, slashes host communities trust fund to 3%. Federal government projects 900 billion naira fuel subsidy in 11.9 trillion 2022 budget. Confirms release of 973 billion for capital projects in 2021 account. PIB will fast-track transparency in petroleum industry, says Timipre Silva, the Minister of State for Petroleum. Now, the Guardian newspaper also reported this story. PIB, anger as Senate slashes host community share to 3%. Reps maintain 5%. Pandef, host community rejects 3/5% equity shareholding. Despite PIB, federal government to spend 900 billion for subsidy in 2022. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper also reporting the same story. NNPC commercialized as Senate passes PIB, PPRA, PEF, that's Petroleum Equalization Fund, scrapped. Host communities to get $500 million annually. Reps consider okay report. Yes. Now, if we look at the foreign newspapers quickly, now, the Guardian newspaper of UK, nowhere is safe. Warning on escalating climate crisis. Yes, scientists are warning as a result of the extreme heat that claim hundreds of lives in the US and Canada. Experts say time is running out to take action. 2 scientists were very clear on that. You warm the planet, you are going to see more heat extremes. Professor Michael Mann, a scientist, saying that while the UK Chief Scientific Advisor, Sir David King, is saying, indeed, nowhere is safe. If we look at the Daily Mail newspaper, quickly, the Daily Mail, princes unite for Diana's statue, but there is no heart-to-heart. Together, but still so far apart. Yes, yesterday, Prince Williams and Prince Harry unveiled that statue of their late mother, Princess Diana, the Princess of Wales, yesterday, in what was described as a very moving and dignified event by palace sources. But noticeably, yes, the princes put their differences apart to come and carry out this event, which coincided with what would have been their mother's 60th birthday. But again, it's like the animosity has not cleared. Something their mother would have loved to see. Princes, his 2 sons, united in heart and mind. But that is what it is today. Okay. Ruben Rufai, okay. Now the PIB bill,
okay,
being passed.
I think the parts we should also look at critically are the very fine lines, I mean, using sort of like a legal term, that a lot of people don't look at. Now we are saying the NNPC is going to be commercial. We are looking at mainstream and upstream, downstream regulators. We are looking at the mechanism of that is how that is going to work with NMPC and NAPIMS and the likes. We are looking at new frontiers. We are looking at E&P operations. We are looking at 13%, of operating costs, OPEX and things like that. I think those are the real thrust of the conversations, really. Because that is what will guide the oil and gas industry. And that is what will bring in the necessary investment. And I say investment, I say it very, very lightly. Because is anybody really still invested in fossil fuels again? Look at it all over the world. The heart of where investment money comes out from is out of New York. So New York is sort of a bellwether. You can see what people are investing in. Are people still throwing money into fossil fuel projects? Look at America as a bellwether. Even when Trump tried to say, okay, coal is the way to go, coal country and the like, look at how many green jobs are coming to America. These are the conversations we should have. Yeah, it's good, but is the PIB not too late, 10 years after? Are people really going to bring their money into the oil sector?
Never. It's better late than never.
Because
I think we all agree that, Ruben, there's need for some structural reform in the oil and gas sector, which this bill is meant to address. But some wasteful agencies will also go, like the Petroleum Equalization Fund Agency. But even as we are talking about the gains that are likely to come with this bill, the federal government is proposing over 900 billion naira for subsidy next year. So it will not be uhuru until, one, the president signs this bill into law, because we still need to get his assent to say, yes, the coast is clear. And also, what will be the fate of subsidy, which the president himself does not seem willing to deal with because of the likely consequences in his own, to put it in his own words, in that famous interview with Arise Crew. Robert.
Yeah, quickly. I mean, this issue about PIB, we're going to have for some extended time Dr. Dino Fawebe, who is an oil and gas expert, and he will be able to help us shed light on some of these issues. But I was expecting your comment on the raid on Sunday Igboho's residence in Ibadan. I had raised a number of questions earlier about the manner of the operation. I admitted that, yes, the will of the state may be slow, but eventually it will prevail. That's what we have seen in the case of Nnamdi Kanu. That's what we have seen in the case of Igboho, where you have the state going out there to challenge non-state actors who, in the eyes of the state, are seeming or seeking, to engage in activities that could overwhelm the state. But what are the relevant questions in this regard? One dimension of the story is that even cats were arrested from Sunday Igboho's house because those cats were considered suspicious, and that they could be part of the separatist secessionist agenda. And I was wondering why the Nigerian state will not just arrest human beings, but will also arrest cats. Now, the Department of State Services...
There was a voodoo dimension to that.
But the Department of State has not accounted for those cats in the report that was given by Dr. Afunaya. And then what was all that drama about the destruction of property? Is that part of the mandate of the state? I know they can hide under the fact that there was a shootout, but the other camp, the Sunday Igboho camp, is presenting that as a deliberate attempt, not just to apprehend, but also to destroy this place. What do you think of that Gestapo style that was adopted?
Ruben, you see, the state must also, in using its force, must also be careful, because there's no record that Sunday Igboho was invited in this case, in this particular case. And if you remember what happened after Nnamdi Kanu was granted bail, and there was this attack on his father's residence, the palace, where many destruction was also carried out, and eventually, according to the Nnamdi Kanu family, it led to the death of the father and the mother. Whereas Nnamdi Kanu was already before the law at that time. So why attack his house? So I can see a parallel here with the case of Sunday Igboho. I thought efforts should have been made to invite him, charge him to court, and if he refuses to show up, then, but in this case, an attack, and of course, cats were also involved, because according to some sources, they believe that Igboho has some voodoo power to transform into cats. So but the good thing is that Igboho has spoken, so the cats that were killed were not Igboho in another form.
Anyway, thank you very much, Emmanuel Efeni.